Welcome to Sitla's channel. I am Ayakha Notototo and I'm here to share my journey into medicine. So I'm from King Williamstown. I completed my matric in St. Thomas Private School, and yeah. So let's start this off in the 10th grade. So for subjects, I chose maths, physics, life sciences, and accounting. However, I did later change accounting into consumer studies because I wasn't exactly passionate about accounting. I knew very well from the get-go that I wouldn't venture eventually into anything that had to do with accounting, and also accounting used to clash with most of my tests. Like I would have to write life sciences and accounting on the same day, or I'd have to write accounting and physics on the same day, right? And that was extremely stressful because I was like, I don't really enjoy accounting, but I do enjoy physics, but I have to study them both because I have to pass, right? So that wasn't a very nice thing to do, right? So in terms of academic performance, I would say I wasn't exactly like a top student, but I was above average. So in the 10th grade, I think I was holding, I think, the 7th position. So I was part of the top 10, but you know. So in the 11th grade, I think that's where I started like focusing more on school, because the previous year I didn't exactly know which study method works best for me. Whatever like you would tell me you do when studying is what I do. Like if a friend of mine tells me, okay, no, I personally studied the night before the exam, that was what I was gonna do. I was gonna study the night before the exam. If they tell me I don't write notes, I just read out, that was what I was gonna do. I was just gonna read out. You understand? So I wasn't exactly true to myself at that stage. And then I think in 11th grade, that's when like I just started focusing. I started working on what works best for me. So I did see some improvement starting from first term. That's when I dropped accounting. I dropped it towards the end of first term, and then I proceeded with consumer studies in semester 2. Also, that's when COVID started. So I don't have like a major experience of the 11th grade, but we did end up like writing here and there. So in the 11th grade, I think I was holding the 2nd position in that grade. So that was eventful. I would say I had learned a lot about myself, how I prefer to study, and things like that. So proceeding to the 12th grade, I still wasn't exactly like having medicine on my head. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm doing this for medicine or whatever. I was just studying because I liked getting good grades, I guess. But I think I started realizing that I had to finally put focus into what I want to do after grade 12, after bursary applications opened, because everybody was now filling out this application form, and I saw it and I saw that it excluded medicine and it excluded dentistry, right? So in that time being, everybody was changing the courses that they initially wanted, right? So for example, a person who wanted to do engineering was now suddenly into something else, either in health or in another faculty, right? So like I would say there was like a change happening around everybody else. Like there was changes happening surrounding me, and there was no change happening within me. You understand? I was still on the same thing, but oh, okay, I said I wanted to become a doctor, so that's what I'm gonna become. But then now there's change happening. People are changing. People are rediscovering their purpose. You understand? So I was like, okay, this change is not happening to me naturally. So I'm gonna force it, because usually teachers will tell you that in grade 12, that's when you're gonna discover what you really want. So I was like, okay, let me force it. I forced it. It didn't really end up well. So a friend of mine was like, you want medicine, so focus on it. And that's what I did. So first term, it went okay. I think I got 6 distinctions and a level 6 for life orientation. And then I started applying to institutions. I applied, I think, to 7. Applied to NMU. I applied to University of Free State, UFS. I applied to UCT, Stellenbosch. I applied to oh my gosh, Wits, UP, SMU, and yeah, those were the institutions I applied to that offered medicine. Oh, also I applied to UKZN as well. So in that time frame, like, I was certain that I was going to get into medicine because I looked at the minimum requirements, which is something I want to focus on. At that time, I thought minimum requirements were like, you need to get level 5 in order for us to accept you. So in my head, I'm like, I'm getting more than level 5. So I'm good. I'm good to go. Boy, was I wrong. Was I so naive and so wrong? So the first institution to reject me was NMU. And I swear that first rejection hits hard and it hits home. I got rejected by NMU. I went on to write my NBT, which I extremely did bad in. I failed completely. I know that, like, a lot of people say you don't fail the NBT, but I failed dismally. I dismally failed the NBT. And then I think from there onwards everything came crumbling down. But because I didn't understand the importance of the NBT, I didn't understand why I was getting rejected. I got rejected from literally everything, literally everywhere. And now, mind you, like, people are curious to know, which institution you've decided on going to. You understand? And at that time, I'm like, I'm so confused. I don't even know whether I'm going to go to university or not. You understand? So let's fast forward to August. That's when I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to university next year. It's clear, because I've applied everywhere, and even my second and third options are getting rejected. You understand? So in August, I got rejected by UFS. I got rejected by Stellies. I also got rejected by, I think, Wits. Yep, Wits, like, rejected me. I think we were given like 6 options. So continuously, it just rejected me throughout the year up until August, right? So I wrote my trial. At that time, I was extremely demotivated because I was like, what's the point at this point? Like, what's the point? Why do I need to keep studying? Why do I need to keep pushing? Because it's clear I'm not going anywhere with this. You understand? So I wrote my trial. I finished, and then I went on to term 4, and I was writing my finals when I got an acceptance from SMU. At that time, I was so excited. It was like a dream coming true, guys. Like, that pushed me to work harder. Like, it was like a drive to, like, boost my marks, because during the trials I did very bad. Like, I caught myself catching level 4s and 5s, guys, in maths and physics, guys. So it it drove me to work hard, you understand. So around December, 1st of December, I got an acceptance, I'm sorry, from CUT stating that I was accepted for diagnostic radiography. I remember I applied very last minute to CUT because I was like, hey, I don't think I'm gonna make it into medicine, right? That was before I got an acceptance from SMU. That was, you know, when I was still in a very dark space, thinking, hey, I'm not gonna go to university next year. So when I got that acceptance, I was so happy because I was like, I have options now to choose from instead of just hoping on MPCHB from SMU, right? Going back to the acceptance letter from SMU, it had so many red flags. I should have known that there was something wrong because, firstly, the acceptance was not personalized. So there was no dear Miss Ayakha Notototo. It was literally dear Miss XX, right? But I was excited regardless because I had been through a lot, hey. So fast forward to the day I got my results. So in matric, I had 3 distinctions, 3 level 6s and 1 level 5, right? So I was now waiting on my acceptance from SMU. Naive, right? I know. It didn't come, guys. I called and they were like, check your portal. I checked my portal and it was like awaiting selections. Awaiting selection cycle, I think something along those lines. And now I'm panicking because in my head I was ready to go to Pretoria. And then I just like checked the portal, which I had been doing the entire December, and I did not see this. I did not see this. But then in January, after I think 5-6 days after I got my results, I went to the portal to check, and it was like, if you got your acceptance around the 8th of November 2021, then it was a mistake. They were trying out a new system to like send out acceptances to those who deserve to be accepted. And yeah, if your email was not personalized, then unfortunately you are not truly accepted. It's a mistake. They apologize. When I tell you, my heart sank to my stomach because how was I going to explain this to my parents? Matter of fact, it didn't even make sense to me. But then at the same time, at the back of my mind, it was like the acceptance did kind of look sketchy, honey. So heartbroken, I went to CT to do diagnostic radiography. And the first few days being there, I didn't want to be there. Hey, I was mad, I was angry, I was grumpy, I refused to give it a chance, you know. So that was like one of the first mistakes that I did. But then I ended up telling myself, hey, we're gonna push, we're gonna do this. And then I discovered Sihle's channel, right? So I started listening to other people's stories on how they made it into medicine, and you know, I was like, oh, okay, there's still a chance. Like, I don't get to do radiography forever. Not that it's a bad career option. It isn't. It's just it wasn't what I wanted. Otherwise, I had the best time of my life while I was there, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to do. You understand? So I discovered Sihle's channel. I DM'd him and I was like, is it possible for me to switch into medicine using diagnostic radiography? And he was like, yeah, absolutely. And he started guiding me on, you know, the results I should have. There isn't really specifics when it comes to the results you should have. I think you should just give it your best because that's what I did, and that's what got me into medicine, right? So my first semester, My first semester, I had, I think, 8 modules. Like, total of the year, I had like 10 modules. I don't know how to best explain this, but I hope you understand. So out of those 8 modules, some of them were semester modules, some of them were year modules. So I don't know how to best explain it. So I obtained about 6 distinctions out of total of 8 modules for that first semester. I was doing anatomy and physiology. I did patient care management. I did radiographic um, procedures. I did radiological physics. I did research principles. And then I think I did DLC or something, and ALC. And I don't know what else I did. I think it was PIM. It's called PIM. So that's what I did. So I don't exactly remember like the specific marks, but I just know I think I got a distinction on, oh my gosh, anatomy, radiographic procedures. I got one for ALC. I got one for PIM. I got one for DLC. I got one for which other module was there? Jeez. Let's not mind that. I think I got one for oh yes, PCM. How can I forget it? I got one for PCM as well. So I was excited. I had applied already. I made a really messed up decision when I was applying. I think I applied to very few institutions. I don't know what came over me, but that was very reckless of me. So I applied to UP, I applied to NMU, I had applied to UFS, I applied to Walter Sisulu and University of Limpopo. I applied to 5 universities only. I don't know what I was hoping to gain from doing that, but if I had to go back in time, I would definitely apply to more institutions to increase my chances of getting accepted, right? So the first institution to reject me was Nelson Mandela, just like the previous year. And I somewhat started feeling like I wanted to give up because it was like, it's a pattern, you understand? It happened the last year, so it's probably going to happen again this year. So UP, UFS, and UL and WUSU didn't reject me immediately. UP and UFS sent me emails requesting for my results because like I could see my results, I knew my results, right? But CUT hadn't released my academic record yet or my academic transcript, so I couldn't send it to them, you understand? So I did say that on my emails, but time was moving, time was ticking, right? And CUT just gave me a response that said that they would release my results on I think on August 30th, I think. And all the institutions gave me a deadline that was before that, you understand? Because they had given me a lot of chances and they can't necessarily stop their selection cycle because of one student. I understand. So eventually, UP rejected me. Same goes for UFS. And I appealed to UP. I didn't get a response. And then something told me to appeal to UFS as well. So I appealed to UFS. I sent my academic transcript. I went to my portal. I printed out what was written there and I attached it on one document and then I sent it to them and I explained this is all I could get from CUT. You know, I understand if you still continue with your decision of rejecting me, and I also understand that the selection cycle is probably complete, right? but I wanted them to reject me based on my results, you understand, so that I can have something I can work on the following year. So after I had sent that, they just said thank you, and that was it. So I was like, it's fine, I'm rejected, it's fine. UL also rejected me. Then it wrote it was due to space constraints. And then now I was left with Wusu. Walter Sisulu gave me hope, guys. It gave me hope because randomly, on a random Wednesday, it sent me an email um, stating that I needed to certify certain documents and send those documents to them quickly. And there was hope, right? So I did that because I was so desperate, guys. I was so desperate. I wanted to finally get into this thing because the year was coming to an end, and I had promised myself at the beginning of the year that I would be able to transition into medicine the following year. That was the plan, you understand. And now, mind you, I had told a couple of friends, that I was planning to switch into medicine, and some quickly shut the idea down, you understand. Some were like, you're not gonna make it into medicine, and a lot of other people that I came with to radiography and that had wanted to do medicine were now settling into radiography, right? So it was like, I call next door, I call here, I call there. People are already settled, they're happy. I'm just the only one who's like rambling around, wanting to finally get into this thing. So I certified my documents and I sent them in. I checked my portal, I'm rejected. And they said that it was because I didn't finish radiography. So I'm guessing I was supposed to finish the degree and then apply with my 4th year results. But that, unfortunately, that was not my plan. I wasn't planning on finishing radiography. So I would say my overall experience in radiography, it was up and down. There were definitely highs and lows. I did enjoy getting really good marks, but then I didn't exactly enjoy the course, if it makes sense. I did enjoy the marks. I did enjoy specific modules like anatomy and physiology, patient care management, certain things like that kind of like made it feel like I was in medicine. I'm sorry. Certain things like that made it feel like I was doing medicine. And then also meeting patients, like getting the opportunity to go to the hospital and start working there was amazing to me because I was like interacting on a day-to-day basis when it was time to go to the hospital. It was great because it made you feel like, okay, medicine is definitely happening, I'm definitely going there. So yeah, it wasn't a bad experience for me. So let's go back to I think it was semester 2 of radiography. So in semester 2, hey, things went south, right? That's when I got most of my rejections, right? And I had appealed, I got rejected by Walter Sisulu, and so I wasn't exactly sure if I should continue putting in the effort, considering the fact that I was rejected everywhere. Bursaries had rejected me, you understand? So I wasn't what's the point of doing this? So finals arrived, I wrote, but somewhat I had a change of heart. I decided to continue putting in the effort, right? Because even if I wasn't going anywhere, I was going to stay in radiography. I was like, okay, let me just let me just study for the sake of studying, right? Let me just look at my academic transcript and smile. You understand? So I then wrote my exams. I think I wrote pathology, I wrote physics. Then when I wrote my major, which is RDP, I got an acceptance from UFS. Now, mind you, it had rejected me around the 26th of August. I sent an appeal around the 12th of September, and then on the 14th of October, that's when I got my conditional acceptance from UFS. And I tell you, when I opened that email, right, I was content that they were rejecting me again. They were just emphasizing the fact that we have rejected you, just like the other university that makes it a point. But now when they reject you, you know you are rejected, right? So in my head, I was like, oh, God, here they go again, rejecting me, right? So I got an acceptance. I read, it was DMSA Notototo. You know, you're accepted into the MBCHB program with specific conditions that they stated, and they stated how much I needed to pay for reserving my space. First thing I did was call my mom. I cried. I was excited. It was like a dream coming true. Matter of fact, it was a dream coming true. So I waited till my results came out, which was another struggle because they came out a bit late, right? So I sent them to UFS and I got my final acceptance on the 27th of January. And yeah, I went to school on the 8th of February 2023. So advices I have for matriculants is please focus on your NBT, because on that same January I got a call from a principal who had a student that had really good results, amazing results, but they didn't apply for medicine. They didn't write an NBT, but they wanted to do medicine. You understand? At that point, literally, there isn't much you can do, right? But tell them to either apply for another course and get into medicine using that course, or maybe consider taking a gap year, which isn't exactly ideal, I know. Consider taking a gap year and then reapply again the following year. So that's my advice. Number one, take your NBT very seriously. Secondly, make sure that you apply in time for medicine, right? There are no late applications, unfortunately, for medicine. Thirdly, when studying, use the study method that works best for you. Maybe what works best for me might not be working best for you. I personally use active recall when I'm writing my notes. So that means that as I write my notes, I read from the textbook and then I paraphrase it in my head, say it, then write it, so that when I open my notes, I can kind of always remember how things go. And I also act like I'm teaching a class. So I talk when I study, I chat with myself so that the info gets in. Yep, I think that's what I use. Also do a lot of past papers. Those will help you out a lot. So yeah, and for life sciences, I highly recommend usage of study guides. I couldn't study from the textbook directly, so I had to have answer series study guides, right? So if you need to know my results for first year, I don't exactly remember how they went, the final results. I know I got 8 distinctions out of the 10 modules I had done. I got 8 distinctions and my average was 81%. I won't say aim for 81%. I will say aim higher, and definitely put in your best effort, I can say, because you might obtain 81% and still not get in because things change on a yearly basis, right? So just make sure your average is definitely above 75%, so that you can like increase your chances of getting in. Remember, I came from a university of technology, right? So I know for UFS that when you're transferring from a university of technology, you have to have 75 and above in order to increase your chances of getting in. And if you come from a university, you need to have like 70% and above, right? So yeah, that's my story into medicine. I hope I made sense. And if you have any questions, you may comment down below, and I will try my best to follow up on the video consistently and reply to any questions that anyone has. Bye.